Yo, what's up? It's Ghettosocks.
And your man Relic.
And you are tuned into Breaking Wreckords Radio.
Word up.
Keep it locked.
Yo, it's Eddie G from Eddie G TV. We got Obi-Wan from Breaking Wreckords Radio. We got Ghettosocks. We got Relic. Let's talk about the tour. How's the tour going so far?
So far, so good. We just finished up our East Coast leg of the tour, the Cabin Fever tour, and it was dope. We did a couple shows in Halifax, a couple shows in St. John's, Newfoundland, Charlottetown, Moncton, Sackville, New Brunswick. It was dope, and this is our first show in Ontario for the Ontario leg, and then we got 20 more dates or so after tonight, so spirits are high, things are going well.
Oh yeah, now I want to ask y'all how it felt when you guys first found out about your Juno nominations. What was going through your heads?
For me, the thing with the Juno for me was just basically working with Shad on his record.
Yeah.
And so having been a part of that, and it's sort of like I'm one of like a number of people that contributed to those projects.
For sure.
Did some mixing and production and some features on his record. So, and that was just like, I mean, that was just a good look for me. That was sort of like a timing thing, and Shad's a really good dude, good friend. So it's kind of, when that happened, it was kind of like he won, and my mom actually called me and said, I think the record you worked on won a Juno. And so that was exciting. But
That's
it's not
that
for
your mom's in the loop. Like
yeah, well, that was cool. Well, she was watching the thing on the TV or whatever, I guess, and so she saw something about it. And so that was kind of cool, but yeah, I didn't really know that was happening. So, and then afterwards, it's kind of like, I don't know, like as a producer or somebody had a contributing factor to it. It's not really like I can walk around and sort of tell like, yeah, I won a Juno. You know what I'm saying? Like I was involved in somebody's project who won a Juno, so that's a pretty cool accolade to have. Man. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting. It's really dope.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was definitely a surprise when I had the nom, and that was the same year that Shad won. So it was dope. Like it was a good lineup of nominees. Like you had your Drake, of course, and then Eternia was in there, Decisive, Shad, and myself. So I don't know, it was kind of a different year, I think.
It's definitely a heavyweight lineup of nominations.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like kind of the usual favorites. You know, like, kind of, the past couple of years, you kind of announced a lot of the same cats in there, and, you know, whereas that year was a little strange in that regard. You know what I mean? It's like, oh.
It's good that those artists are getting respect, though, for sure.
That's right. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it moving in the future, and it's not like a one-off thing. That's my hope, I guess, regarding that situation. So, but it was dope, man. It was a surprise, and it was, it was a fun little ride, and people recognizing and stuff.
So was people treating you different after that? Did you notice
to an extent, because the whole Juno thing kind of really legitimizes what you're doing and galvanizes your cause and whatnot. So yeah, certain people sort of had like newfound respect or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, still the same dude. You know what I mean? It's like just another thing in the bucket, drop in the bucket.
Yeah, I know both of you make beats. I've seen your MPC videos. What do you use to make beats?
I make beats on a computer. I used to use Logic. I used to use Cubase, but now I use a program called Reaper mainly. So.
Okay. Are you still on the MPC?
There's a whole bunch of stuff, man. The majority of the stuff that I do is MPC because it's sort of like everything is sort of in one unit of them. From there, I'm definitely everything with Logic, but then Logic plays a big part of it after, especially the mixing and stuff, like adding more sounds from like Complete. I don't know if you know this Native Instruments Complete thing.
Yeah.
Lots of great sounds and stuff in there. So I've been sort of messing around with that a little bit. I have an ASRX Pro as well. I use sometimes. I have an SP1200. I have a Prophet 2000 on the other side, 32. So I'm kind of like I like to have these modules. You know what I mean? Even if they kind of sit there and collect dust for a while, and I'm going back to them and taking different sounds from like old beats that I had. And there's actually one remix that I did for Moonshine. That I took an old SP1200 beat that I had, took all the sounds and recreated, like something that I had made years and years ago. Took those sounds and recreated a new beat from those sounds, which ended up being a remix of a song called, I think it's called The City. which is kind of dope. You can video for it, and like one half of the video is the one beat, and one half of it is my beat. It's really dope.
So, you guys like doing beats better or rapping better? Or just kind of like a melting pot?
I don't know. It's all fun for me personally. You know, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say which one's preferable, but I don't know. I find myself rapping more and making beats less. Although, you know, for my new record, I produced like a handful of tracks on that myself, and then I'm doing a record with MC out of Toronto, Mila. So I'm going to be producing her record, and it's just all my beats and all her raps, so that's going to be something that's a little bit different for me in that sense, when I'm doing production to some covers.
Okay. I've seen some of your videos. You got some definitely a different vibe on your videos. Are you involved with your videos, or do you got somebody that does your videos? Or?
Yeah, I work with all types of different directors and production companies, and yeah, I've had a lot of luck in the past with how they've turned out. And yeah, like Out for Treats, Jason Levan, who directed that, was really dope, and I was happy with how that turned out. We're actually doing another video pretty soon for a song off FYPT called Poutine, featuring Lopeshi and Full Course from Montreal. So that should be interesting. Should turn out well. You know, Rel and I have also worked with our homie Kaylee McLennan, who directed Work of Art video, Rel's, and did some stuff for Teen Burger, which is my side project with Deluxe. And yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, we work pretty closely with the producers and whatnot. So, I don't know, we just try to do something that's like a little different from the norm, you know, in terms of the visuals. We're not just like riding around in a car.
Yeah, I definitely like the different vibe. I definitely like the Don't Turn Around.
Don't Turn Around, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really great song. Cool.
If you guys could pick a song or an album that influenced you the most, what would be? This song's gonna, this question's gonna get a little bit more deep out.
That's a really tough one, man. There's so many rappers and so many rappers that you never met, and there's so many rappers in the circle that you can sort of work with, and you're influenced by so many different things. Rakim is definitely the biggest influence on me. Rakim and Black Thought are the two, like as a rapper, those guys, their stuff influenced me the most. And I mean, Rakim kind of like in the early days sort of like made me want to rap, and then there was sort of a whole bunch of rappers in between there, and then Black Thought just kind of like did something completely different, and always does something that just makes you go, damn, this guy's really ill, you know. So like those for rappers, you know, those are the two guys for me. And in terms of producers, I guess, like, you know, like Primo and Alchemist, and obviously Jay Dilla, like super huge influence. Yeah, that's a tough question, man. I can't pick one.
Yeah, I hate questions like this. But yeah, you know, an important record for me was Gangstar, Moment of Truth.
Yeah.
That record's important for me because it was kind of like, I think, the pinnacle, in my opinion, of like Gangstar, like Primo's production. You know, he really hit his stride, I think, on that record. Not taking anything away from the previous releases, but for that one, I mean, like the songs were really well formed, and like, I don't know, I think that's just a classic record. And just around the time that I was really started getting into making music, that was something that I was really listening to and getting influenced by. So I don't know, that's an important record for me. Like, I still bump that.
That's important for me too. That's important.
And so the second part for this, which if you hated that question, you're gonna hate this question, bro. So if you could pinpoint a single bar that you think embodies hip-hop. I'll give you an example. For me, it's Method Man. I call my brother son because he shined like one. That, to me, embodies hip-hop in that line. Is there anything that strikes you like that just sums hip-hop up for you?
Bro?
Wow, I don't know. Do I have an answer?
Or even a bar that you have that means more than the world to you.
Well, okay, I got this. I think if I had it hard pressed to come up with one, I think I would go with, strangely enough, Charisma. And his line would be like, when I didn't have when I didn't have a mic, I rapped on headphones. And that line resonates to me because like early on when I started making rap, like didn't have a mic, and my boy had like headphones, and we had them hanging on a banana rack in his, his bedroom, and so we always kind of went. It's like that really resonates for that time for me, and that's the whole culmination.
Yeah, that's dope.
I can't think.
I was warned a couple times by a couple other people about dropping that question on people.
Yeah,
Pinpoint one, that's a big world to narrow it down to.
That's a real tough one. I mean, there's so many rappers that floating through my head right now, and so many different things that people say that you're like, oh yeah,
I don't know, it's like all the questions are always like, what's your favorite, who's your favorite, what's the most,
and it could change like any moment, like.
Right. I mean, it's just kind of like it's in line with the type of questioning of like, what's your favorite food? You know what I mean? Like, what's your favorite flavor, color? You know what I mean? It's like you can't just. I don't know. Who can pick one? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the desert island question. Like if you had one object or one, like, it's just. I don't know. It's just maddening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, anyways, that's
I'm
my
gonna be
rant.
thinking about this for days. I'm not gonna sleep.
Text it to me. I'll add
It's me in
it.
the car, punched over the steering wheel.
All right, so I heard you working about Lil Pesci, and you did a song with PH. Do you pay attention to the battle scene?
A little bit. Like I've definitely sort of, I think in recent years, kind of tuned out of it. I don't know. I feel like it's gotten really insular, and it's lost a lot of the freshness that it was. Like, I mean, when in the early days of KOTD, and even predating KOTD, you had dudes like Iron Solomon and Thesaurus and these dudes, and even Immaculate and whatnot. Like, I think those battles were crazy, and it was never really like self-referential. Like now it's kind of like a soap opera, I find. Like, I mean, all respect due, but I just find that it's like so and so told me that you talked to so and so, and I was like, I'd heard from so and so that wasn't the case. And everybody's it's just like, oh really, because that's referring to his brothers-in-law's barber was like talking about this. It just kind of loses its freshness at that point for me, because I'm not in it. It's not like I haven't been watching Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who this guy is. I come out of the woodwork to shank this guy. So, but I mean, there are cats that are killing it, and like Lowe's is definitely one of the dudes that I check for. Bender also from Flight Distance from Ottawa. That's my dude. Pat Stay is awesome. You know what I mean? That's Halifax right there. Dartmouth, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, it's dope, but this is not really. I was more into like the them battling on the street corners. Really when Iron Solomon was doing that, that was really, I thought was really dope. So, but yeah, big ups to them for the level of success, though. I mean, you can't take that away from them. So.
Yeah, this interview's gonna be filled with hard questions. Okay. This next question. This next question, I want to know. What was the name of your first song, and what was it about?
The name of my first song? Oh, shit. The name of my first song.
And what was it about?
The name of the first song that I ever recorded was called Biology, and it was on, I think it was called Biology, and it was on this compilation, the name escapes me. But it was just about being in science class and like spying on chicks.
So you were dropping science.
Yeah, that was it. And that was before that was the first song I ever recorded. So I don't know if you can find that.
The reason why that question is tough is because as you go forward and you progressively make stuff, I try like hell to forget that stuff. Because if I look back, I listen back and go, I never want to hear this again, or you know what I mean? So I try to forget it.
Yeah, can't bury it.
Yeah, well that's the thing is I had when I was in high school, I had a group with my boy Eric, who we had a group called Figures of Speech, and we did like a whole album's worth of song. We did one called On the Real with a cut from Is Alright the Far Side record. Where he said, On the Real. We had like this weird kind of half muted James Brown loop, and you know what I mean? And it was just like rapping for the sake of rapping. And I remember being 16. I'm gonna date myself right here, but I remember the second time the Jays won the World Series, I was in a Casey's, you know, that restaurant Casey's, and I was on acid. And we were in this place, I remember just sitting there in the corner being like, man, I was just peeking, and then all of a sudden everything went quiet in the bar, and it just, boom, it erupted, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, oh, there's a baseball game on. And that night, and the reason why I say it is because that sticks in my head, because that night I remember driving around. Don't do this at home, kids. It's not me anymore. But I remember driving around and listening to that song that we had recorded, and being all tripped out and being like, "Wow, it's me rapping," you know what I mean? And that was something that just is ingrained in me now, just to be like, to just continue to try and make, you know, more and better music. You know what I mean? And that's a hell of a long time ago. Man. I shouldn't have said any of that.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say, like, dude, like, that Rel talking about being on acid. That's not like that happens a lot. He's got a lot of those stories. I was just like, oh, another one.
Yeah, past time. Keep it clean.
I'm gonna. Eddie G brought this up earlier, but you got a song called Stolen Kicks. Yeah. So what are your guys' favorite kicks?
Favorite kicks? There, you went there again. You went
there. Yeah, you've been going all day with this.
No, I don't know. I like all types, to be honest.
Are you a sneakerhead?
Yeah, I mean, I really was more so several years ago, but then I just couldn't afford it. I'm not like loyal to any one. Like, I know there's a lot of like Nike heads, or like, you know, like all pro heads or whatever. You know, like I'm kind of all over the place. Like I rep, you know, sort of the staples from each. You know, like I'm down with the Adidas Superstar.
So what do you think the illest pair of kicks is that you got?
I don't know. I got like the Jordan 4 Concretes that are pretty dope. I don't know. I've got like a pair of Supra Sky Tops 14 karat ones that are like all gold. Yeah, I got like, I mean, I wouldn't rock those on a regular basis. I rock the Jordans on a regular, but like, I got a few pairs of pumps. Like, I got the Voltron pumps that are pretty dope. Like, I have all of them except for I think the red and the green. The red, the green, and the blue, I don't have those. So I've got the black, the gold. Actually, I do have the gold ones. But I didn't like the green one. I didn't like basically it was like two high tops and then three sets of like running shoes. And so yeah, I like the Voltron, Reebok, Strike Back, whatever. What else is there? I don't know, there's tons of stuff. I don't know. I could go on. I'm rambling.
Just separate.
For me, I'm not really into, like, I love shoes, but I don't know what they're called. I don't know. Hip hop for me too. Like half of the stuff I like, I don't know. I know the artist, I know the name of the song. So I just go in the store and just stand there for a little while, and just something that catches my eye. And yeah, I'll take it. And then I get home and I realize I got a row of like 7 sets of Air Force Ones. It wasn't intended. Oh, somebody said to me like, "Oh, you like the Air Force Ones?" I'm like, "Is that what these are?" Okay, cool. And then I realized, oh, okay, I have a bunch of different colors of the same.
Yeah, I basically had to put the box down today. Almost went and bought a pair of these new ones. I was just like, I can't do it. Yeah, in like the Timmy colorway, I was just like, I can't justify it, right? I can't do this. I wanted to. I might still go back. I just like.
Yeah. So you talked about being in a group. You've been in some groups. What are the differences of doing group tracks and solo tracks? What do you like better?
You know what? I've done a bunch of group stuff, and it's hard because those for me anyway, the group things were always born out of like friendship, and in especially like I don't know, the indie music industry, hip hop or whatever, like you're dealing with sort of this dichotomy of friendships and business, you know what I mean? And it's like the two things like meld together, but in a really difficult way sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So when it's me, like for me, this is really what I have. I don't really have like anything else, and I've been doing this like full time for more than 7 years now, and so it's like it's everything to me. I put all my all into it, you know what I mean? I have a family and a house and all that stuff, but it's like I have to do this, and everybody else that I work with doesn't necessarily hasn't like sort of taken the plunge into like being, this is their all, so they have to do it and they have to work hard at it. So for me, in a lot of cases, it's felt like I'm pulling the cart with people. And even with rappers that I've produced records for, I feel like I'm trying to help, and they're not pulling really hard, so I stop pulling. And that's happened to me a couple of times with a couple of groups that I've sort of worked with. And that's no disrespect to those guys. They just have different lives and different feelings and different, they're moving in different directions than I was. So it's a lot tougher when you're, for me, obviously I'm producing these songs, which is basically another rapper on, and I'm rapping, and then we're tracking it all in my place, and I'm mixing everything, and I'm trying to do the family thing as well, and I'm trying to tour, and I'm trying to make videos, I'm trying to, I'm trying to do all this stuff. It just becomes too much weight for me to try and carry somebody else's cart, you know what I'm saying? And that sucks. It's unfortunate, man, but that can happen. And like I said, it's no disrespect to those guys. It's just, I have to keep on going, and it's a lot easier for me to just say, like I'm doing a record with Fresh Kills. I don't know if you guys knew that, but a record that's entirely produced by him, and it's been a lot of fun, working with him, and he and I are such close friends. But there's been even difficulties in that, and we're both very hard working and going forward with this, you know what I mean? And so, even within that, in that place, it's just like there's still times where we're best friends, we're getting together, we're in the studio, we're working on stuff, and then that's when we start arguing. And then that just becomes a completely different dynamic that's added in there too. It's like now it's just creatively, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I like to be alone. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even in a general sense, I don't mind it. Like, I'm a social guy. I love people and I love hanging out with people, but I have no problem being alone for hours and hours at a time. So just sitting there and just pouring in and just making a beat. And a lot of the songs on my records, like, I made the beat and I'm like, I know what fits with this, and I started to write it right away, or had a concept for that right away, And there's other records I did an EP with Scarlem D that he completely produced, and it was like 2 studios. Like he made the beat, he sent me the files, and I basically took it from there and did everything. You know what I mean? So that was a fun project to make. But then again, another situation where he's tied up in doing other things. His pursuit is not to be a producer, so that made it really tough for me to say, okay, let's go and do another record and let's keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like you get forced into a corner with this stuff, man. Like, I mean, if I was Daddy Warbucks now, the money in the world, then I won't have to worry about any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I got to provide for my kid and stuff for myself.
How do you feel about that difference between doing solos and groups?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing the group things. Like I'm in mad crews and stuff. Obviously, it's easier to do it yourself. There's something about doing a group thing. You get to share the success of it with some other people, which is a little bit of a special feeling. So I don't know. It's like, what's your favorite color? It's just it's dope. It's got pros and cons to both. Obviously, less lifting if you're doing a group. Oh, I got my verse, I'm done. Your turn. And you're making the beat. Okay, cool. I just did a song today. Goes in the verse. So that has its benefits, but yeah, no, I also like to have ownership of something end to end. Whether it's like, I produced it, I rap on it and whatnot, and then I can invite people into it. It's still sort of like my house, but they're guesting on it. That also provides like an interesting dynamic as well. Having somebody's guesting on the record, it's kind of cool. So, that's a good question.
All right, I'm gonna ask part 2 of a question that I asked Maloney to ask you when they interviewed you the first time for Breaking Records. I know the answer was no to the pandas. Are there any other animals that you have fed liquor to?
You know what? I feel like a friend of mine's dog or cat like really likes beer.
So we're keeping it in the house.
I feel like it's a domesticated, it's a domesticated animal. Really likes beer. I'm trying to remember. Like I have this blurry recollection of like sitting at a table and just watching somebody be like, yeah, check it out, and just like tilting their bottle, and then like I think a dog just like lapping, like getting some of it, and I was just like, oh, that's weird. But then I did it, so I don't remember what kind of creature it was, but
Not a
no animals were harmed in the feeding record. It just said animals. Disclaimer right across the bar.
Okay, so where can people find your links and get at you for booking you or find your music?
Well, they can find me anywhere, pretty much. On Twitter, at Ghettosocks, GHETTOSOCKS. Same thing, Facebook, Instagram, droppinscienceproductions.com, DROPPIN, scienceproductions.com. And there's a lot of information there about myself as well as like my crew and everything. So
Yeah, for me, www.relmccoy.com. It's like real McCoy without the A, 2 C's, RELMCCOY. It's the same for all the Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff, at Rel McCoy. On Facebook, it's Relic Hip Hop. If you look at the pages, it's Relic Hip Hop on Facebook. And yeah, I mean, the www.relmccoy.com is the place where all that stuff is there. All the links for the YouTube and all that stuff is in there as well. So that's really the place to check for me. But in terms of getting at me, hitting me on Twitter is a great one. Like that's I'm always checking that, and I'm always responding to people, and I always do respond to everybody. So that's one for me.
Okay, this is Breaking Records Radio and NEG TV. We're out.